A pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Highlander Fieldhouse for Day 2 of the 49th Annual Scott Classic. It's the Highland Park Scots and the Lake Highlands Wildcats in the second of 3 preliminary round pool games. I'm Brian Sutcliffe here with Mr. Miles Dunklin. This is matinee basketball action. We're glad you've joined us here today for what should be a good one. The Scotties in bounce-back mode for the first time as they were defeated for the first time this year, 52-49 by Midlothian in their first preliminary round game yesterday. And Miles, it's been a good defensive story for the Scots after 2 games, but still trying to get things going on offense.
Right, they scored exactly 49 points in each of their first 2 games, and they've struggled to hit the 50-point mark yet this year. And that was something they only failed to do 6 times all of last season in 31 games. So certainly that is the emphasis early on, is putting the ball in the basket.
The Scots are 1-1 this season. They're coached by David Peeler in his 7th season. This his 199th career game as the Scots head coach. He is 155-43, a very nice 78% winning clip. Their starters at wing, number 2, Chase Fletcher, a 6'7" senior. The point guard is Matt Fraschilla, number 3, a senior, 5'10".
Stiganga gets behind the defense that time. And Lake Highlands trying to come with an early press, but they had a lapse on the defensive back end that time, and Stiganga was able to get loose.
Stiganga starting at guard, number 11, the 5'10 junior, has got the first 2 of the game. Matthew Kreitz in his first season on the varsity. He's a 6'3 junior, number 10, and the big man in the middle is Clayton Murtha, number 52, a 6'5 junior.
A nice battle
Mueller
for the
with
ball.
the offensive rebound, and the putback were even at 2.
And Scott's looking to push it early. Fraschilla pushing the pace.
Nice play with a left hand. Matthew Kreitz has his first 2. He scored 8 in the loss to Midlothian last night, and we'll have to see, Miles, as Coach Peeler was not real thrilled with what he saw from the Scotties in their second game. I expect to see a better effort tonight.
Yeah, to say the least, they were not thrilled, as Kreitz with a nice take and another bucket to put the Scots up 6-2. Yeah, as you said, they were not pleased with that effort in that first game. They got out-rebounded pretty badly, and they gave up 17 offensive rebounds, and really to them it was just kind of an effort thing, and that's not excusable. And so they were working on that in practice this week, especially yesterday, and certainly not doing as much scouting on Lake Highlands as they will do once they get to district play, where the results of these games matters a lot more. Right now they're just trying to work on their own game.
The offense hasn't been too much of a problem in the first quarter, as the Scotties have averaged 16 points per opening frame, and they're shooting lights out thus far as Chase Fletcher has his first 2. He's averaging 18.5 points per game in the first 2, as the Scots have opened up an 8-2 lead with 5:50 left in the first.
Yeah, he's going to do the majority of the heavy lifting this year. He can score inside, he can score outside right there. He's going to lower the mid-range game. That's number 21.
Nate Welty with the triple makes it a 3-point Scots lead, as Jacob Wu will pick up Matt Fraschilla in the backcourt. Fraschilla without too much trouble bringing it into the front.
Yeah, that's the strength of his game, is ball handling. And ability to handle that pressure, he welcomes it.
Kreitz, who has 4 early points, gives it away to Murtha. 5:20 left, first quarter. Scots 8, Wildcats 5. It's the second of 3 preliminary round games. A pretty feed down low to Murtha. Murtha will kick it to a cutting Kreitz. Finds Jake Stiganga. No look down to the block. Stiganga taking a page from the Matt Fraschilla playbook. A nice dish from Stiganga.
Yeah, that was beautiful. And it was
low.
a nice head fake at the top of the key, and he was able to get penetration that time. The Scots coming out shooting hot early, 5 for 5.
Fletcher has 4. The Scots have a 10-5 lead. It's no single elimination bracket this year in the Scott Classic. All 6 teams will play 3 preliminary round games, and then the 2 teams with the best pool record will advance to the championship tomorrow afternoon. Quick release, Welty can't hit from outside again.
Nice
Rebound,
box shot by
Fletcher.
Chase.
Averaged 5 boards per game last year. One of the key storylines this season is Stiganga tees it up from outside.
Great rebound by Chase.
Pulls it away from Mueller. He's whistled for the travel. You lose David Allen and Andrew Barnes. That's 33 points and 10 rebounds a game that you're trying to replace. So Chase Fletcher, as good a season as he had his junior season, will be probably expected to improve his 14-5 numbers from a season ago.
Absolutely, and not only do they lose offensive punch with those 2 seniors departing last year in Barnes and Allen, but they lose a lot on the defensive end as well. Those guys were extremely tenacious on the wings.
10-7, Scotties by 3 halfway through the first. Max Mueller with 4 of the 7 points for Lake Highlands. He's averaging 10.5 per game. Kick it out, Kreitz. Can he make it 7 for the first quarter? He missed it. Rebound, Jacob Wu.
You know, that was a miss that time, and that was outstanding ball movement. And that's exactly what you want to see if you're Coach Peeler. They're not always going to go down.
There's an offensive foul whistled against Lake Highlands. It'll be the first against Kevin Thrower, number 23. That's the first foul of the basketball game. Very quickly moving first quarter. 3:43 left in the first. It's Highland Park 10, Lake Highlands 7.
Yeah, and look for the Scots to take advantage of the lack of size for Lake Highlands tonight. On the inside with Murtha and Fletcher. What a pass by Chase. Such an underrated part of his game. He can really do it all from the post.
Matthew Kreitz was averaging 4 per game in his first 2. He's got 6 points in the first quarter today to follow up his 8-point total in the loss to Midlothian last night.
Yeah, they're doing a great job with aggressive cuts to the basket. Good team ball early on.
Scotty's nearly with a turnover. Chase Fletcher lost the first effort. He'll swipe it on the second. Try to get it ahead to Matthew Kreitz, but it's out of bounds. And Miles' rebounding was very much the story in the loss to Midlothian last night.
Yeah, they had a big edge. Did Midlothian on the boards.
32-19 for the game, including 17 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, it's just tough to win like that. You know, as Coach Peeler told us in his email, you know, that's going to come up with a loss more times than not when you get out rebounded
and out hustled. That was the more important piece, being out hustled in the game. Of course, the Scots winning on a Derek Kahn 3 at the buzzer on Monday against TCA Addison, who had a nice win over Ennis. They're also in the Scott Classic. We'll, as we get through the broadcast, run you through the rest of the competition in this 49th annual Scott Classic. HP hoping to defend its championship.
And Chase just left. Chase Fletcher just left to the locker room with one of the assistants, Matt Wilson, into the game, senior captain.
Number 32, the 6'4 senior, takes it baseline, tried to drop it off for Clayton Murtha. Here comes Lake Highlands. They got a 3-on-3. Kick saving a beauty by Frischilla, but it comes straight back down to Welty, who couldn't hit the lay-in. Matthew Kreitz had the rebound, but had it taken away.
And that was a nice strip by Max Mueller inside. And we don't have number 5 on our roster. I apologize for that.
Quickly to the free throw line for Murtha. Murtha finds Jake. Karam's out. Our mystery man, number 5, comes away with a rebound. They'll find Welty. Welty blocked off nicely by Frischilla to force the miss. But Lake Highlands will have another possession.
He does an excellent job of using his body on defense, and he's obviously an undersized guy, but he's very tenacious on the defensive end.
3 fresh Scots at number 4, Mitchell Kaufman, a 6'3 sophomore. Number 20, Will Miller, a senior, 6'5". And number 5, Trey Garrison, a 6'4 senior. Trey Garrison, a bit of a full circle story as he started off at Highland Park in the 9th grade, then went to Prestonwood Christian for 2 years, and now he's back with the Scots.
Coach Bueller happy to have the extra depth on the roster for sure as Kaufman pulls down a board.
Scots lead by 3, 12-9, 1:51 left in the first. Will Miller, who had his best game on the varsity squad with 9 points last night.
Yeah, Miller's a guy who got some really good experience last year on JV. And that's really the kind of the primary scorer for that club. And obviously he's a senior this year, so he's a junior last year playing on JV, got some excellent experience, and he should be able to add some scoring punch off the bench.
Here's Wu on the wing. Tried to find Max Mueller, but Matt Wilson got his hand into the passing lane. Here come the Scots in transition. Garrison, quick release 3. Missed it to the right. 50-50 ball. It's taken by Mitchell Kaufman, who then hands it off to Will Miller. Didn't look like either player had control of that ball, yet they call a travel against the Scots.
It was a great rebound or great effort by Wilson flying in from the perimeter to jar that one free. He's an excellent hustle player.
Garrison, tough defense on the wing. Kevin Thrower put the ball on the floor. Tried to throw it into the lane. Saving the day was Andy Ferris, but the ball will go to the Scots.
Yeah, Mitchell Kaufman ends up knocking that one away. He's got an excellent frame. He's a very athletic player. Can mix it up on the defensive end, especially rebounding. Only a sophomore. He's got a bright future.
Garrison and Frischilla in the backcourt. Garrison finds Frischilla over near the sideline. Now Trey finds some space. Kaufman, a little tic-tac-toe. Great ball movement. Wilson tried to go up and under with the left hand. It's not there. Gets his own rebound. 45 seconds left. Scots lead at 12-9. Waning moments of the first quarter.
And Fletcher is back out of the locker room. He seems to be okay.
Matt tried to throw it out to the far side, but it was deflected out of bounds. So Will Miller will come to the near sideline for the inbound. 35.9 seconds to go. Scots by 3, 12-9. Trey's got to get rid of it. He finds Matt Wilson, gets it right back, takes it strong into the lane, throws a left-hander up.
Could have been fouled right there.
No call. Here comes Kevin Thrower.
Lake Highlands seems inclined to push the ball off misses on the defensive end.
10 seconds left. Rob Wiley wants his red-clad Wildcats to hold for the final shot. Garrison, tough defense. Andy Ferris will throw it up at the buzzer. It's no good. And after 1 quarter of play, the Highland Park Scots lead the Lake Highlands Wildcats 12-9. The Scots hoping to bounce back as onto the floor at both sides for the first time today come the Altshuler & Company Scots Mop Crew. Altshuler & Company, it's a real estate advisory services firm that features big ideas and flawless execution. Altshuler & Company, proud sponsors of the Scots Mop Crew.
You got to like the effort early on. That's what the coaching staff was really upset about, yesterday, was just poor effort. And they certainly came out, I thought, in that first quarter, seemed to be a little bit rejuvenated from yesterday's game.
Lake Highlands still looking for its first win. They're 0-2 on the season. They lost to Stephen F. Austin in their opening preliminary game last night, 61-46. They trailed at the half of that game, 37-18.
This is the portion of your schedule. Obviously, the Scots want to come away with as many victories as they possibly can, but ultimately it ends up boiling down to district play. So they're really just kind of working on themselves at this point in the year, seeing who can be a stalwart in that rotation as the year goes on, and just try and see who they're comfortable with on the floor, different groups of players, just trying to work a lot of different things out with all these new faces.
These teams played last year in the semifinals of the Scott Classic. HP won 82-67. It was the third most points the Scots scored in any game last year. David Allen had one of his many 30-plus point games. He poured in 35.
They're going to call that a blocking foul.
Andy Ferris went strong to the basket. The 5 on the floor for David Peeler Scots. Number 2, Chase Fletcher. Number 4, Mitchell Kaufman. Number 13, Ben Livingston. Number 20, Will Miller. And number 14, Ryan Brady, the 5'10 sophomore, sees his first action today.
Always impressed when you see a sophomore on the varsity roster. It means they think highly of you, not to be on JV where you could possibly be getting more experience, really feel like you can help the club. So intrigued to see what that sophomore has to offer. He's called for the foul on that last play.
0 for 2 goes Andy Ferris. Scots lead at 12-9. 20 seconds into the second. Kaufman out to Brady. Long range 3. Missed it, tapped it back out. It's a 3-on-1. Here come the Wildcats. The shot was missed. Great defense on the recovery side by Ryan Brady, forcing that miss. But Lake Highlands will have another look from the baseline.
Yeah, outstanding. Anytime you can get away with a 3-on-1 without having a bucket or a foul, great job. I thought he actually drew a charge that time, and Lake Highlands turns it over.
Scott's defense harassing Lake Highlands. They lost their season opener to the Colony 60-53. Chase goes up strong against Max Mueller and scores. Chase has his first 2 of the second quarter. He's got 6 for the game, and the Scots lead by 5, 14-9.
Yeah, earlier he showed the outside game, that time showing his inside prowess as well. He's really got so many ways to beat you offensively, and when he catches it down that low, it's pretty much over.
Here's Welty on the wing, guarded by Ben Livingston. Livingston offering no quarter on the outside. Andy Ferris shoots the 3. It's not there. Kaufman tries to win the rebound, but it stays with Lake Highlands. 6:49 left, first half, 14-9 Highland Park. Brian Sutcliffe here with Miles Dunklin. Loser of this one is not going to be in the running for that championship game. Like Kaufman got a strip there away from Max Mueller.
I think that was Fletcher.
Was it Fletcher? Ben Livingston with the ball, scored 10 in his varsity opener on Monday against TCA Addison.
Yeah, a lot of these new guys just trying to find their way on varsity as Miller puts up a corner three good. And like I said, he is going to really be that scoring punch off the bench. Obviously, nobody's going to replace David Allen, but he's a pure scorer.
Scots had their biggest lead, 17-9, as Jacob Wu thought he drew a foul. There was no call. Right wing three off the mark. Ben Livingston the rebound. Here come the Scots in transition. Wu able to slow things down just long enough for Ryan Brady to take the ball.
And a moving screen on Fletcher that time. Offensive foul, that'll be his second. So that's just his first personal.
Only been 3 fouls committed in the game.
Pretty quickly moving first half so far.
2 against Highland Park, 1 against Lake Highlands. A lot of these fans ready to head up to Denton and try to get there in time for HP's football game tonight.
A nice take that time.
Nate Welty's got 5. Scots by 6, 17-11, 5:35 left first half. Brady splits a couple of defenders. Nice dish to the left block for Chase Fletcher. He left it a little short, gets his own rebound, misses the putback, but he'll go to the line for 2.
Yeah, it was a nice contest by Mueller on the inside. He's really all the size that Lake Highlands has, and did well to keep Chase from putting that one in and one. And Chase, a solid free throw shooter, about 65%. He also shoots it very well from the perimeter. Just a very well-rounded game. We saw last year his ability and willingness to take charges all season long.
Took 57 last year. His goal this year is to take 60 or more. Welty not close on the 3. He pulls down another rebound as Chase Fletcher. 5:13 remaining, second quarter, 18-11. Scots with the lead over Lake Highlands. Teeing up the straight-on 3 ball. Chase can't get it. Clayton Murtha fighting Max Mueller for the rebound. It's a jump ball. It stays with Highland Park.
And see, this is why Chase's ability as a 4 or a 5 to shoot from the perimeter is a matchup problem for the other team, because 45 Max Mueller has to guard him on the perimeter, and then there goes their defensive rebounding. So as a stretch 4 or 5, he has a lot of ways to hurt the defense.
Great look from Matthew Kreitz to Clayton Murtha. The 6'5 junior, Clayton Murtha, with his first 2 points. The Scots lead is 9, 20-11. Damian Morris into the game for Lake Highlands. Here's Thrower. There's a foul against Lake Highlands. It's against Morris.
The Scots, this is a point in the game, up 20-11, where they have a chance to extend their lead here early on.
There's Kreitz. Kreitz getting it inside to Clayton Murtha. A little, maybe too unselfish there by Clayton. Kreitz finds Chase Fletcher.
And Chase, that time he was just in the right place at the right time. It's pretty much a scramble drill that time, but Kreitz was able to come out with it and make a nice feed inside. And so far the Scots are doubling up the Lake Highlands Wildcats.
Timeout taken with 4:30 left in the second quarter. The timeout's taken by Coach Rob Wiley and the Lake Highlands Wildcats, who were 18-15 a season ago, as the Altshuler and Company Scots mop crew do their work at both ends of the floor. Lake Highlands playing in a pretty good district, District 9-5A. They just barely missed the playoffs a season ago, losing a play-in to Skyline. They're trying to replace James Lonergan, who was their go-to guy, averaged 17 points and 9 rebounds a game last year.
Yeah, Lake Highlands had a history of pumping out Division I prospects as well. Anytime in the city of Dallas, a 5A program, more than likely they're going to have a tradition of putting some pretty good basketball players out there.
The Scots lost last night to Midlothian. 52-49 was the first time the Scots had absorbed a loss on this floor since falling 56-55 to Pierce on January 28, 2011. The Scots ran the table at home a season ago and just fell short in their first home game last night to Midlothian, 52-49. But Scots looking good, bouncing back so far, doubling up Lake Highlands 22-11. as we approach the 4-minute mark of the second quarter. It's Frischilla, Kreitz, Fletcher, Murtha, and Brady.
He is tenacious on the perimeter defensively, doing a great job doubling down that time. Frischilla.
Throw will find Ferris. Nothing easy for Lake Highlands as Wu goes careening into the lane. He lost the handle. Kevin Thrower managing to slow down the Scots transition game by knocking it out of bounds. They'll have to set up in the front court.
And that possession was all about the intensity of Matt Frischilla on the perimeter. Just the consummate point guard, Frischilla.
Put on a show against TCA. Behind the back passes, over the shoulder passes. The guy was all over the place. Under 4 minutes left, second quarter, 22-11 as Frischilla finds Chase Fletcher for two.
And that's just a great design play that time. Got a seal on the backside. Chase was able to get free underneath the basket. And Matt was with an accurate pass down low. Chase into double figures with 11.
He has 7 points in the second quarter. He's hit double figures in all 3 games now. Had 22 against TCA and then 15 last night. Mueller takes it up strong.
I like the defense that time by Chase.
Way too hefty by the 6'6" post, Max Mueller. Here comes Ryan Brady, finds Kreitz. Kick it back out to the wing. They'll try to reset.
That was a nice feed by Brady. Unfortunately, Kreitz
wasn't quite ready for it.
Wasn't on the same page. I've liked Brady's playmaking ability in the limited time we've seen him in this game.
Coach Peeler talked about him leading into the season, saying he's a very heady point guard. Really likes what he's got between the ears. Coming around from the backside was Chase Fletcher. He'll pick up his second foul.
That's always been the one issue for Chase, being able to stay on the floor with foul trouble. Obviously, he's a big. He's going to be patrolling the paint quite a bit. They're going to have to spell him right now with Matt Wilson as there's still 3 minutes left in the second.
Welty with the catch and release three off the inbound 50-50 ball. Murtha comes away with it to Frischilla for two.
A beautiful finger roll. And a great job leaking out, having faith that his teammates would be able to come up with that loose ball and get it to him. And the Scots pouring it on, up 15.
HP after the turnover will have a look. 26-11, just under 3 minutes left. Lake Highlands goes to sleep. Matt Wilson can't finish it, but Clayton Murtha does for two and the foul.
Outstanding. That was a great pass to Matt. I'm not sure if Matt was expecting it and he missed the layup, but Murtha doing a great job crashing the boards right there with the putback. I'm loving the intensity and the effort that we're seeing in this first half. I know yesterday, looking at the box score, they were out hustled, but tonight, or this afternoon rather, they've certainly gotten the better of Lake Highlands in the hustle category.
Clayton Murtha has 5 second quarter points. It's all Scots, 29-11. HP has outscored Lake Highlands 17-2 in the second.
Once again, great defense by Frischilla, and he'll earn an offensive foul.
This a little more like it for the Scotties. We're certainly seeing effort and execution tonight as they are pouring it on, 29-11.
Yeah, if you're Coach Peeler and Coach Snowden, you absolutely have to like what you've seen so far. Like you said, not only have they been great in the effort department, the execution has been outstanding as well. Shows on the scoreboard.
Brady takes it strong into the lane, kicks it out to Kreitz. Jacob Wu closed off the potential three-pointer. Moving right off a screen for Murtha.
I'm really liking the ball movement we're seeing on the offensive side.
Murtha off the dish, and one again! Frischilla to Murtha, connects one more time.
And they cannot handle the size that Highland Park is presenting down low. As Murtha now with 7, combined with Fletcher's 11. They're outscoring Lake Highlands by themselves easily, 18-11.
Scots up 20, 31-11. Make it 32-11. All 8 of Clayton Murtha's points are here in the second quarter.
Yeah, that's 15 from the big man, all in the painted area.
Three-pointers missed, easy rebound, Clayton Murtha.
Yeah, they're just not running enough offense. Lake Highlands isn't on the offensive side. Seem to be content settling for three-pointers.
Kreitz. Post it midway left. They'll shoot along. 2, got it!
Just beautiful inside-out offense, playing through the big man, because obviously Lake Highlands is having trouble defending that down low, and they'll take a timeout.
1:31
with Highland
left.
Park tripling their score.
First half, 34-11, Highland Park playing their best game of the season. They knocked off TCA Addison on a Derek Kahn 3-ball with about 2 seconds left to win that one 49-48, then came up short last night as the Altshuler and Company Scots mob crew does their business in the waning moments here of the first half. It's a 52-49 setback to Midlothian last night, but HP putting together a complete effort on both ends of the floor, and they are blowing out Lake Highlands 34-11 with 91 seconds left in the first half.
Yeah, right now Lake Highlands just doesn't really have much of an answer for what the Scots have had offensively. More than well on their way to exceeding that 50-point mark that they have failed to meet in each of their first 2 games.
Frischilla, Brady, Murtha, Kreitz, and Matt Wilson on the floor for David Peeler's Highland Park Scots. 3-ball missed by Andy Ferris. Both teams fight for it, last touched by Highland Park.
Yeah, that's the toughest call there is for an official, is those sideline out of bounds. I did like what I saw from Lake Highlands a little more in that possession. They did get a wide open shot.
Thrower needs to inbound. He'll throw it into Miller.
That's a pretty tic-tac foul on
Mueller was fouled with 1:13
Frischilla
left. Matt Frischilla picks up his first foul, just the 4th against Highland Park. Lake Highlands has 16 fouls, so the Scots will shoot free throws the rest of the way in the first half.
They still got a couple fouls to give here, so no harm in that particular foul.
.105 left, second quarter, 34-11 Highland Park. HP looking to remain in the mix for one of those 2 championship game slots as Matt Frischilla picks Kevin Thrower's pocket, goes behind the back to Kreitz, earns a trip to the free throw line.
Tell you what, if you're a teammate of Matt Frischilla, you better be looking for the basketball at all times, because he will deliver it from many different angles. That time, number 23, Kevin Thrower, thought he was going to have a chance for one of those LeBron chase down blocks. Little did he know that Matt was going to just give that one behind the back to a teammate. This guy could play on the N1 tour. He has that kind of skills.
Matt Kreitz now with 9. Averaged 4 per game in the first 2. He's got his best game as a varsity player with 9 points in the first half.
If it's possible to be flashy and fundamental, Matt Frischilla is that.
Scott's doing a better job from the free throw line. They left several points on the floor against TCA. Kreitz has 10. He's just one off Chase Fletcher for the team high honor thus far.
Yeah, very quietly as the Scots come out in the 2-3 zone right here.
36-11 with 45 seconds left, second quarter. Ryan Brady's had a very nice first half.
Yeah, not only on the offensive side where he's showing his creativity, but defensively as well. All the Scots have played an outstanding defensive first half. And right now, they're not even doing it with the first team, with the exception of Murtha.
Joe Henderson fresh into the game for Lake Highlands as there are 30 seconds left in the second quarter. Cole Rauscher has it knocked out from behind. Ben Livingston finds Brady. Brady will slow things up. 20 seconds left.
And they're just dominating on the defensive end. Lake Highlands looks lost.
Livingston loses the handle and then fouls. Play was whistled dead long before the lay-in.
13.3 remaining in the half. And Brian, what else can you say about the defensive performance? Obviously the offense has been there as well, but to hold Lake Highlands to only 11 points.
They have 2 points in the second quarter.
And that is a blatant offensive foul.
Ryan Brady taking a shot to the chops. Number 5 is Michael Ketchmark. As he picked up his first, he's got 2 points in the game. We had him as number 15. Murtha, nice pass from the wing by Kreitz. And that's how the first half of play will end. A 16 minutes completely dominated by the Highland Park Scots. They'll go to the halftime locker room, leading the Lake Highlands Wildcats 36-11. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll have the second half of play here from the 49th Annual HP Scott Classic. 36-11, Highland Park at the half. Second half when we come back.
This presentation is brought to you by HPTV. If you or someone you know would like to sponsor this unique TV station, please email Mrs. Kelly Snowder at snowdeck@hpasd.org. And from all of us here at HPTV, we thank you for watching.
Welcome back to the Highlander Fieldhouse, where at halftime, the Scots lead the Lake Highlands Wildcats 36-11. And Miles, that's some of the best defensive performance we've seen from the Scots in many months.
Right, so it's about a year ago in the playoffs, they held Newman Smith to only 12.5, but that's the least. Since then, only 11. It's been a long time since they've had that kind of a defensive performance, and only 2 points in the second quarter for Lake Highlands. Pretty unbelievable.
The Scots outscored Lake Highlands 24-2 in the second quarter. They lead it by 25, and the Scots defense forced a turnover on Lake Highlands' first possession. It's Clayton Murtha, number 52, number 2, Chase Fletcher, number 3, Matt Frischilla, number 11, Jake Stiganga, number 10, Matthew Kreitz.
That was a travel that time.
30 seconds into the third quarter. Scots 36-11. Brian Sutcliffe with Miles Dunklin. Glad you've joined us for some matinee basketball. You'll have to get up bright and early with us tomorrow as the Scots will take on Stephen F. Austin at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So join us here at US Education TV about 5 minutes before, as we'll bring you a little bit of pregame action.
That's a little early for me on a Saturday, but I'll make an exception.
You're going to be there.
Beautiful pass. Kreitz just barely missed that one, but a nice follow by Murtha. Brian, he did that 2 or 3 times in that first half alone. And I'm curious how they come out in this half, because they pretty much had the game in hand. We'll see what kind of focus and energy they have in this second half, because you know Lake Highlands had some not so kind words from their coach at halftime. They will probably come out with a little better effort in the second half.
Offensive foul. There's Chase Fletcher doing it again.
And that's 2 possessions for Lake Highlands and 2 consecutive turnovers. They just can't get anything going offensively. Like we said during halftime, I mean, this game might be worse than the scoreboard says. Highland Park has just thoroughly dominated it that much. It's not like Lake Highlands has had a whole bunch of wide open shots that haven't gone in. They just haven't been able to get shots up. They turned it over so much.
Great offensive balance for the Scotties. Chase Fletcher has 11. Matthew Kreitz has 10. Clayton Murtha also has 10.
Yeah, Clayton's just doing it all in dirty work.
Matt Kreitz has had a really nice game. Nate Welty just gets lost on the backside of the defense, and he's found by Kevin Thrower for the easy bucket.
Yeah, that's the way you beat a zone. You have to move the ball across the court. They're obviously dangerous passes, making those diagonal passes, but good execution that time, and the Scots need to clean that one up.
A little more than 2 minutes into the second half. The Scots lead it by 25, 38-13. Scots taking their time, getting a good shot. Frischilla calls for a screen from Murtha. Kicks it out to Kreitz, who comes in from the backside, found some open space, and hits it from outside.
I just think he had his foot on the line, only a 2. His second long 2 of the game, but regardless, a nice stroke shown by the outside. And from the outside, another nice pass from Frischilla, and the Scots continue to execute offensively.
Matthew Kreitz has 12 points. He's the leading scorer for the Scots in this game. 40-13 HP as Thrower is fouled with 5:11 left in the third quarter. As we look around the Scott Classic bracket, if you want to call it that, last night in opening round play, TCA whipped Ennis 59-42. It was Stephen F. Austin taking down Lake Highlands 61-46, and as you know, Midlothian knocked off the Scots 52-49. In today's second round play, after this one, it'll be TCA against Midlothian and Stephen F. Austin versus Ennis. Thrower goes 0 for 2, so right now you've got Midlothian, TCA, and Stephen F. Austin as the 3 teams with wins. Ennis, Lake Highlands, and Highland Park are 0-1. The top 2 teams will advance to tomorrow afternoon's championship game. All 6 teams will play tomorrow morning.
Excellent high-low pass from Kreitz down low to Murtha. And the Scots just continue to execute offensively. That's points number 11 and 12 for Murtha. Is that a career high or a season high for Murtha?
Yeah, certainly a season high. He had 8 last night as Max Mueller scores the easy bucket. Mueller only has 6 in this game. His first point since the first quarter. 42-15, all Scotties. 4:26 remaining in the third quarter.
And one of the impressive things about this game so far for the Scots, doing it without Derek Kahn, who's on the bench. I'm not sure what his status is exactly. The other thing is this is a 5A school, and they obviously won't be playing any 5A schools during district or the playoffs when it really counts. So getting their licks in early against a team with a much larger enrollment than them.
Well, Midlothian, also a 5A school,
Right.
and Stephen F. Austin, who the Scots will play tomorrow, is a 5A school. So
That's obviously the thought process in scheduling all these teams. You want the best competition to finally tune your unit as best you can.
Kevin
We're going to see a
Thrower,
lot more of these new faces getting some run tonight.
Thrower just picked up his second personal foul, second team foul against Lake Highlands, 1 for the Scots. Fraschilla able to win the possession back after the near turnover.
A little bit of a lazy pass that time, able to recover.
Will Miller, number 20, into the game for the Scotties. Onto the baseline for Fletcher. Chase's whistle for travel. Doesn't quite agree with the call.
Not sure if I've ever seen Chase really agree with an official call
That's
against
true.
him. Gotta love the competitive spirit in that young man.
Mueller goes one-on-one with Fletcher. Turns, misses
Nice
the shot.
defense.
Badly. Came out to Ferris. Now it's Michael Ketchmark. Another offensive foul taken. Another one by Matt Fraschilla.
You know, Matt does such a great job of how can I say, selling the fall. Now, obviously, there was enough contact right there, but if he tried to stay up on his feet, you might not get the call. You love the savvy. You can just tell how much basketball he has played and watched and learned in his life. Just the little things that he does like that, drawing offensive fouls by selling it, we'll say.
Fraschilla can it from the baseline. The Altshuler and Company Scots mop crew was in action after that last possession on the right baseline. Altshuler and Company, a real estate advisory services firm that features big ideas and flawless execution. Altshuler and Company, proud sponsors of the Scots mop crew.
Nice little teardrop in the rain that time by Ketchmark. He's been one of the lone bright spots for them. He's got 4. Little screen and roll action.
Tried to lob that pass to the baseline for Chase Fletcher. Not many guys that Chase is going to take on at the same size, but Max Mueller's a tall drink of water. Timeout on the floor with 2:44 left. Third quarter, 42-17 Scotties. Brian Sutcliffe here with Miles Dunklin. A beautiful November evening. Scotties will have some time to get out and enjoy some of it after what looks like it's going to be a nice win.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys can go catch the playoff game later in Denton with the Highland Park Scots football taking on the Frisco Raccoons.
Don't sleep on Frisco.
Absolutely not. We know that firsthand.
As the teams break the huddle. A lot of basketball for the Scots. They'll play 2 games tomorrow, and then they'll have just 1 day off as the Jesuit Rangers come to the Highlander Fieldhouse Monday night. You'll join us for that one.
Another 5A opponent.
Very true. Yet the Plano Wildcats later in non-district play. You've got the Richardson Eagles, another 5A squad.
Yeah, a lot of teams want to schedule cupcakes early on. It's a nice effort.
Mitchell Kaufman.
Like Kaufman. So I really like his game. He's just a scrappy defender. Love his frame. And he could be an excellent football player with the kind of size that he has. But regardless, a lot of teams want to schedule cupcakes, make them get feeling good about yourself. But the Scots want to be tested early on and learn as much about their players as possible.
They're pretty used to taking on 5A squads as several teams, as Welty shoots the 3 and misses. Several teams from last year's 10-4A alignment are now 5A squads. McKinney, Rockwall Heath, Rockwall. All went 5A. As did Richardson Pierce. So 4 of the teams from District 10 4A a season ago are now doing their thing in the 5A classification. Nice baseline cut. Will Miller with a little floater for 2.
And it was a great pass by Matt, but that time it was all about the cut. He sold the one toward the Scott bench, and then he cut baseline. It was a nice move.
44-17. Scott's up just under 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Mitchell Kaufman will pick up Nate Welty. Welty loses the handle, comes to Matthew Kreitz. Kreitz looked like he was fouled. There was no call. The Scots will slow things down. 1:35 left, third quarter, 44-17 Scots.
And this is a perfect time to work on some of your half-court offense. A little miscommunication that time. And also, we'll see some of these guys we haven't really seen that much of. Trey Garrison, interested to see what he's able to bring. I liked how he played in the first half.
Fraschilla checks out with 2 points. Some very nice assists in the game. Carrying
That's what
on
he does.
The area's second leading assist man a season ago. He had over 7 dimes per basketball game. Here's Wu. Thrower skips it over to Ketchmark. Try to find Thrower on the block. Outside for 3. Pretty stroke there by Joe Henderson. His first points of the game.
6-foot senior.
One minute left in the third. Very quickly moving basketball game. This thing started at 4:30. We're not even an hour in, and we're almost to the fourth quarter.
That's Miller going down. Looked like he had to maybe tweak the ankle a little bit. Looks okay. It's the main thing you want to take out of these early games. Learn about your team and stay healthy.
To free up Henderson again. Hit the 3 ball in the last Lake Highlands possession. Kevin Thrower will step into a wide open 3. Was tapped by Trey Garrison, but Mitchell Kaufman not able to get his hands on it. Ketchmark hits from outside.
Well, the Scots are going to have a couple teaching points in this second half. The defensive effort hasn't been quite there. Lake Highlands has already exceeded what they did in the first half with 12 points in this third quarter. As Wilson steps out.
Turn it over.
Matt Wilson committed to Oklahoma State to play baseball as a big 6'4" left-handed pitcher.
Congratulations to Matt. Ketchmark tries it again, hits it again.
Now you wonder if in a minute here Peeler might get a whole change substitution. So the effort from this group in this particular stretch hasn't been spectacular.
Garrison can't respond from the corner. It's tapped up, bodies all over the place. Miller will throw it up, he misses. A better quarter for Lake Highlands in the third, but the Scots, who led 36-11 at halftime, will head to the fourth, leading the Lake Highlands Wildcats 44-26. The third quarters coming into this game have been pretty good for the Scots, averaging 14.5 points per game, but they scored only 8 in the third tonight.
There wasn't as much Fletcher and Fraschilla in the game. Those two guys are really going to be the key for this team, I think, Brian, if they're going to make a deep run through district. Now, those are your 2 best players from last year returning, and I feel like certainly Chase will do the majority of the heavy lifting in the scoring and rebounding department.
The Altshuler and Company Scots Mob Crews getting things going for the fourth quarter. Proud sponsors of the Scots Mop Crew, Altshuler and Company. Glad for their support. Glad you've tuned us in here for matinee basketball. Catch some round ball, then head out, do your thing on Friday night.
Yeah, basketball season sneaks up on me every year. It's here again.
Number 2, Chase Fletcher. Number 14, Ryan Brady. Number 5, Trey Garrison. Number 13, Ben Livingston. And number 52, Clayton Murtha. Start the fourth quarter for the Scotties, who lead it 44-26. Pretty dish to Garrison from Chase Fletcher. Gets the contact. He'll earn a hard trip to the line.
Yeah, that's Livingston down low, but once again, Fletcher showing off his versatility. I mean, what can't this guy do? There's a little point guard living somewhere inside that 6'7" frame of Chase Fletcher. He loves to distribute the basketball.
Livingston hits the first. Was averaging 5 points a game coming into this one. He's dented for the first time today. He can make it a 20-point lead with a perfect trip. That he does. 2 for Ben. 7:45 left in the fourth. All Scots by 20, 46-26. Scots allowed just 2 points. Big swat by Clayton Murtha over the baseline. That's how the big man does it.
I think he's going to end up being a beast by the time it's all said and done here at Highland Park. Obviously contributing as a freshman last year. He's got an outstanding frame at 6'6". So only a sophomore. He's got a bright future.
Kevin Thrower tries to throw it in on the little running right-hander, but he missed it. Here come the Scots. Garrison. Little two-man game with Fletcher. Fletcher tried to spin baseline, gets away from Thrower, puts it up and one.
You gotta love the fundamental moves from Fletcher down the block. We already talked about the mid-range game, the three-point game, the inside game. You just saw a little of the back to the basket moves from Fletcher. And he can beat you in so many different ways offensively. And he's also a pretty nice prospect at his size and everything he can bring. He'll end up playing somewhere if he wants to.
He was district newcomer of the year 2 years ago. He was first team all-district a season ago, and you wonder if he continues to have a great year, you could be talking about a district MVP type performer, Chase Fletcher.
I think you're absolutely right. I don't know what could be holding him back. The points, the rebounds. When you watch Arches,
maybe to help him out, we need to start calling him like Chase Basketball or something.
Maybe a little play on Johnny Football. In there?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, apparently that's what you need to do. We got to come up with something better than Chase Basketball.
I think we can do. I think we can do better than Chase Basketball.
All right, I get it. It stinks. Catchmark has 11 points.
Yeah, he's played well. And
Average,
so has Lake Highlands in this second half.
7 per game. He scored 11 in their 60-53 loss to the Colony in their season opener.
Now, granted, Highland Park did have a 24-point lead, a 25-point lead at half, but they've been outscored 17-12 here in the second half. Still got to play it out. They're going to watch this film regardless of what happens in the fourth quarter. Always got to take pride in what you're putting on film, because they'll grade you for it in practice.
Here's Livingston, nice jump stop, tried to throw the right-hander up. He drew the contact, but first they call a travel.
It's also a good screen that time by Fletcher, another thing he does well.
6:26 left in the fourth. Scots hoping to move to 2-1. Avoid a losing streak. They got a big lead over Lake Highlands, who is in danger of falling to 0-3. There's Rauscher, catch mark from that right wing. You could tell that was off out of his hand. Brady sets up the offense.
This is where the Scots are just kind of grind a little bit offensively and just work on their offensive sets. It's like a live practice.
Rauscher shoots the long two. He missed it.
Yeah,
great body positioning by Chase Fletcher. Then he tries to hit the home run ball. Ryan Brady's knocked down as Lake Highlands comes away with it. Catch mark wide open from that right side. He missed that one to the left. But Kevin Thrower gets the offside board and putback.
And just a little helter-skelter there for about 30 seconds. Crazy back and forth action, and Lake Highlands ends up getting a junk basket out of it.
Murtha couldn't hit the little turnaround. 18-point lead for the Scots, but Miles, as you mentioned, not quite as easy sledding, and that's going to force you to bring Matt Fraschilla and Matt Wilson back into the game. Max Mueller couldn't hit. Got a pretty good look there from about 6 feet.
You did, however, have to love the effort and the intensity that the Scots brought at that first and second quarters of this game. When the game was still in doubt, they really had excellent effort all the way through, and they also executed very well.
Garrison can't hit the three ball. Diedrich LeCue clears the rebound. Thrower. Down low to Max Mueller as Chase Fletcher was spilled.
Yeah, tried to take a charge. Unfortunately, when you're and you have that mentality of taking charges, you're going to take some hits. And not always they're called your way.
48-32, not time for concern yet for the Scots. Still a large lead. Garrison rips the long 2-ball.
And the defender went under on the screen, and he had a wide open look.
Those are his first points as a varsity player. Mueller, another offensive rebound. Offensive rebounding was a very tough spot for Highland Park against Midlothian last night. And Max Mueller is doing some damage here in the second half on the offensive glass.
And they've just had a little more as Brady shows a little between the legs dribbling.
Livingston left that short. He might have been fouled. But then Kevin Thrower loses the handle. That brings Matt Wilson back into the game for the Scotties.
And you got to think at this point, it's all about keeping the guys fresh. You do have to play at 9 a.m. tomorrow. You wonder how that's going to affect the players coming out. They normally, a lot of these guys, that's just first period for them. They're not used to having that physical activity so early in the morning. Be interesting to see how that plays out tomorrow. Of course, it does play into for both
F.
teams.
Alston, yes,
right.
sir. A 9 a.m. tip-off. The fifth place game will take place at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon. The third place game at 2, and then the championship game at 6:30. They've got a series of tiebreakers that can be applied should a couple of teams be tied to determine which way you're going to go. The teams can also come to a discussion as the Alt Schuler and Company Scots mop crews do their thing during the timeout. But you can have the coaches, if all four agree, can decide to swap opponents out. For instance, if you don't want to necessarily play a team a second time. I imagine maybe the teams that take part in the third and fifth place games may decide to switch things around a little bit. I would imagine if you've got a spot in the championship game, you don't mind who you're playing. Nice screen from Fletcher to free up Frischilla. Now it's Brady in the corner. Frischilla, Brady, Fletcher, Wilson, Garrison on the floor for Coach Peeler's Highland Park Scots. David Peeler, this is 199th game as Scots head coach, so tomorrow will be a special day. Garrison leaves the 3 short. Game ain't over yet. It's a 16-point lead.
What a
Another
play
interception.
by Frischilla.
Frischilla up ahead to Fletcher. Chase Fletcher goes up strong and finishes at the cup.
Yeah, what a strong take. You can see the confidence that Chase has handling the ball on the break. Once again, a very versatile offensive player. There was a couple guys between him and the rim. He didn't care. He was going to take it right to the rack.
Under 3 minutes left. 3 is missed.
Late whistle.
Joe Henderson is fouled on the three-pointer.
Yeah, Chase was just trying to close out. It was a good effort. Obviously, you never want to foul a three-point shooter. And Chase with a game-high 17 tonight. He had 15 in last night's loss. The Scots do now officially eclipse the 50-point plateau.
Joe Henderson with 4 points here just in the fourth quarter. Scots had 44 after 3, scoring exactly 49 in their first 2 games. Missing the second as it's a fresh 4 onto the floor for Lake Highlands.
Yeah, we're going to see number 12, Stevie Smathers, 6'1" senior wing, get his first action tonight. And that officially empties the bench for the Scots. Everybody saw action.
And now Henderson will leave. Guy scores 5 points in 5.5 minutes. He gets taken out. Coach, what have I got to do? Here's Smathers. He's got a man on each side. He'll go left to Brady. Brady with the right hand. Missed the shot. It's out of bounds to Lake Highlands. 2:28 left, fourth quarter, 52-36 Scotties. Brian Sutcliffe, Miles Dunklin, glad you've taken some time this afternoon to join our live broadcast of Highland Park Scots varsity basketball. We'll be with you all the way through the playoffs once again. Wu throws it up wildly. Earns a trip to the charity stripe. Stevie Smathers picks up his first, fifth team foul. Wu scored 19 in the game against Stephen F. Austin last night. He has not scored in this one.
You know, the pressure that the Scots put on them defensively in the first half was just too much for them to handle. They really did not have an answer. Love to see the turnovers in that first half. They had a big problem getting shots up offensively.
Garrison thought about the three. He'll take it up. Tries to get the higher percentage shot. Was blocked by Max Mueller.
I'm liking his aggressiveness, and you got to have a couple guys off the bench. We saw it last year with Derek Kahn, with just the willingness to shoot the rock off the bench. As Wilson gets his first bucket of the season for the senior captain.
That little baseline inbound has been devastating for the Scots in this one.
Yeah, Lake Highlands going to have to look at that one in practice.
54-37, Scots by 17. Under 2 minutes remaining. The result of this one not in doubt. The question is, what will the margin be? Ryan Brady hit with his second personal.
And all these guys on the floor right now, all these guys are buying for minutes with the exception of Frischilla. All these guys need to play well while they're in there. So regardless of the score, it's still very important for them individually to play well. They want to show Coach Peeler what they can do when they get the call. Wilson tries to take a charge. I thought he was in position.
But near side official left us in suspense, waiting 2 or 3 seconds before calling it a block.
Hey, it just adds to the drama, you know?
It does. You got it. Well, there hasn't been a lot of drama in this one. The Scots jumped out to a 12-9 lead after one, pretty evenly played, but then landed some serious body blows, outscoring the Wildcats 24-2 in the second. And since then, it's sort of been window dressing as the Scots really had this one won at halftime.
Yeah, and maybe 5 or 6 years of broadcasting Scott basketball, that might have been the most dominant second quarter I've ever seen. And just going to run some offense here. It's a man-to-man look from Lake Highlands.
Frischilla will move right, just killing the clock as we're under a minute left. The Scots are going to move to 2-1. Lake Highlands will head to the third game of the tournament, still looking for their first win on the season. They will fall to 0-3.
Of course, no shot clock in the high school game, so as long as you can hold the ball and their team can't get it from you, finally they turn it over.
Catch mark, fouled by Smathers. Basket will not count, but it will be the 1-1. Stevie's second personal, the team's 8th. You had 3 players in double figures for the Scotties. Chase Fletcher with 15, Matthew Kreitz with 12, and Clayton Murtha with 12.
Yeah, I really love the way the front line worked tonight. And another couple ticky-tack fouls just to kind of delay the inevitable here.
The Scots are in no hurry to head up to Denton for the playoff game.
So we'll see a lot of football players here over the years supporting these guys. It's always the same kind of reciprocal relationship you see between the varsity teams. You imagine a lot of these guys, they're either going to stick here to watch the girls play next or head out to Denton.
40.5 seconds remaining. Scots leading by 13.
And if you look at the box score in this one, you don't see what happened in the first half. You might say, well, Lake Highlands hung in with them. Really not the case. The Scots really kind of took the foot off the pedal in the second half. And this might be about it. Scott's not looking to get a shot. Just looking to take the air out of the basketball and in the game.
54-42 with less than 20 seconds left. So the Scots will remain alive in their battle to advance to the championship game. as Matt Wilson is down on the floor with 9 seconds left. Didn't go down hard. Something happened, and he went down easy.
And he's looking at his left knee, and obviously that's the last thing you want to have happen with 9 seconds left in one of these, what's effectively a preseason game. Like we said earlier, Matt committed to Oklahoma State for baseball. A southpaw pitcher.
He can sling the pill a little bit.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I saw him during last season. ERA hovered around 1 the whole year long.
It's like he's able to put some weight on it, which is a very good sign.
You
Not
never
getting a
like
lot
to
of help.
see those non-contact knee injuries, but hopefully he will be all right. You have a very bright future for that young man on the baseball diamond.
Coach Peeler calls for the Altshuler and Company Scott's mob crew to come and make sure that we are dried off.
And that's what happens. There's a little bit of sweat or spit on the basketball floor. You can slip very easily.
9 seconds left. Scott's hoping to put this one in the back pocket, and Matt Fraschilla will do it. 54-42 will be the final score. The Highland Park Scots move to 2-1 on the season. They go to 1-1 in pool play, and this the 49th annual HP Scott Classic. They'll try to make it 2-1 and perhaps earn a trip to the championship game when they take on the Runnin' Maroons of Stephen F. Austin High School at 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. We'll be there. We hope you join us as well. The leading scorer for the Scots in this game was Chase Fletcher. He had 15 points. Matt Fraschilla had 2. Trey Garrison with 2. Matthew Kreitz with his best game as a varsity player. He had 12 points. Jake Steganga had 2, both in the first quarter. Ben Livingston with 2. Will Miller with 5. Matt Wilson with 2. And Clayton Murtha with 12. So, Miles, we talked a little bit in the pregame about the defense being there for the Scots. Well, they only allow 42 points in this game. You wanted to see a little bit more from the offense. The 54 points may be a little bit deceiving about how well the Scots played offensively much of this game.
Well, they put up 36 in the first half. They were very efficient offensively, and they executed very well. I really think you couldn't be more pleased if you're Coach Peeler with the effort in the first half. And obviously by the time the game was well out of hand, Lake Highlands made it a little more respectable, but the Scots with an all-around dominant performance tonight.
Scots and Stephen F. Austin, the Runnin' Maroons, bright and early, 9 o'clock tomorrow. We hope you'll join us. We'll be live at US Education TV about 5 minutes before tip-off. We hope you're there with us. We'd like to thank the parents of the Highland Park Scots varsity basketball team for making this broadcast possible. Miles Dunklin, nice job, my man. The two of us will be with you tomorrow for a doubleheader, the first at 9 o'clock, and based on the results of that one and on the rest of the games taking place tonight, we'll determine when and who the Scots will play in their 4th game of the tournament, which will take place tomorrow afternoon. Until then, I'm Brian Sutcliffe. We'll see you in the morning. So long, everybody.
This presentation is brought to you by HPTV. If you or someone you know would like to sponsor this unique TV station, please email Mrs. Kelly Snowder at snowdeck@hpasd.org. And from all of us here at HPTV, we thank you for watching.